Hi, this is Brad Constantine, and this is a podcast recording of the Old Testament. Although this is not an official recording of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, every effort's been made to be as doctrinally accurate as possible. I'll be using for the text the Joseph Smith translation of the Old Testament, along with many commentaries from general authorities of the Church, BYU professors, Bible scholars, and others. This format will be very detailed, and so if you want a deep analysis of the Old Testament, you come to the right place. Thanks for your attendance. Hi, and welcome back to this podcast. Today's episode is going to be 2 Samuel chapter 2. And it came to pass after this that David inquired of the Lord, saying, Shall I go up into any of the cities of Judah? And the Lord said unto him, Go up. And David said, Whither shall I go up? And he said, Unto Hebron. Now Hebron is just south a little bit of Bethlehem. It's also a Levite city, and it's probably where Elizabeth and Zacharias lived, where John might have been born. So David went up thither, and his two wives also, Ahinoam the Jezreelitess, and Abigail, or Abi, as I like to call her, Nabal's wife, the Carmelite, and his men that were with him did David bring up, every man with his household, and they dwelt in the cities of Hebron. And the men of Judah came, and there they anointed David king over the house of Judah. And they told David, saying that the men of Jabesh Gilead were there that buried Saul, they that buried Saul. And David sent messengers unto the men of Jabesh Gilead, and said unto them, Blessed are ye of the Lord, that ye showed this kindness unto your Lord, even unto Saul, and have buried him. And now the Lord show kindness and truth unto you, and I also will requite, or do recompense you this kindness, because ye have done this thing. Therefore now let your hands be strengthened, and be ye valiant, for your master Saul is dead, and also the house of Judah have anointed me king over them. But Abner the son of Ner, captain of Saul's host, took Ishbosheth the son of Saul, and brought him over to Mahanaim. After Saul died, the tribes of Israel did not immediately flock to David and accept him as king. Abner, the captain of Saul's host, his commanding general, set up one of Saul's sons as the new king. The tribe of Judah accepted David as king, but for 7 years there was no unity, and two opposing kings reigned. David may have refused to take action against Ishbosheth because he had covenanted with Jonathan not to retaliate against Saul's family when he came to power. That was out of the manual. 9. And made him king over Gilead, and over the Ashurites, and over Jezreel, and over Ephraim, and over Benjamin, and over all Israel. Ishbosheth, Saul's son, was 40 years old when he began to reign over Israel, and reigned 2 years. But the house of Judah followed David. And the time that David was king in Hebron over the house of Judah was 7 years and 6 months. And Abner, the son of Ner, and the servants of Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, went out from Mahanaim to Gibeon. And Joab, the son of Zeruiah, and the servants of David went out and met together by the pool of Gibeon, and they sat down, the one on the one side of the pool, and the other on the other side of the pool. And Abner said unto Joab, Let the young men now arise and play before us. And Joab said, Let them arise. Then there arose and went over by number 12 of Benjamin, which pertained to Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, and 12 of the servants of David. Playing meant that these 12 would battle together. They kill each other. And they caught every one his fellow by the head, and thrust his sword in his fellow's side. So they fell down together, wherefore that place was called Helkath Hazurim, the field of foes, which is in Gibeon. And there was a very sore battle that day, and Abner was beaten, and the men of Israel before the servants of David. And there were 3 sons of Zeruiah, there Joab and Abishai and Asahel. And Asahel was as light of foot as a wild roe, or a deer in the field. And Asahel pursued after Abner, and in going he turned not to the right hand nor to the left from following Abner. Then Abner looked behind him and said, Art thou Asahel? And he answered, I am. And Abner said to him, Turn thee aside to thy right hand or to thy left, and lay hold on one of the young men, and take thee his armor. But Asahel would not turn aside from following of him. And Abner said again to Asahel, Turn thee aside from following me. Wherefore should I smite thee to the ground? How then should I hold up my face to Joab thy brother? Howbeit he refused to turn aside. Wherefore Abner said the hinder end of the spear. Wherefore Abner with the hinder end of the spear, the end of the sharp The end of the spear would have been sharp because they plant them in the ground, smote him under the fifth rib, probably abdomen, that the spear came out behind him, and he fell down there and died in the same place. And it came to pass that as many as came to the place where Asahel fell down and died stood still. The contest between the men of Abner and the men of Joab at the pool of Gibeon was more than a simple grudge match. Abner was the leader of the forces of Ishbosheth, Saul's son. Joab was David's commander. Thus, in the clash between the two kingdoms, champions were chosen to determine the winner. The challenge to let the young men play before us meant to let the 12 representatives battle for each side. When the 12 from each side had killed each other, no clear winner was shown, so both sides erupted into a furious battle, which David's men won. When Asahel, Joab's brother, gave chase to Abner, Abner yelled back that Asahel should content himself by taking the armor of one of the younger men, but Asahel refused. It seems Asahel wished to get the armor of Abner as a trophy. This also was greatly coveted by ancient heroes. Abner wished to spare him for fear of exciting Joab's enmity, but as Asahel was obstinate in the pursuit and was swifter of foot than Abner, the latter saw that he must either kill or be killed, and therefore he turned his spear and ran it through the body of Asahel. This turning about that he might pierce him is what we translate the hinder end of his spear. This slaying of Asahel cost Abner his life. That was by Clark out of the Institute Manual. Verse 24. Joab also and Abishai pursued after Abner, and the sun went down when they were come to the hill of Ammah that lieth before Giah, by the way of the wilderness of Gibeon. And the children of Benjamin gathered themselves together after Abner and became one troop, and stood on the top of a hill. Then Abner called to Joab and said, Shall the sword devour forever? Knowest thou not that it will be bitterness in the latter end? How long shall it be then, ere thou bid the people return from following their brethren? And Joab said, As God liveth, unless thou hast spoken. Surely then in the morning the people had gone up every one from following his brother. So Joab blew a trumpet, and all the people stood still and pursued after Israel no more, neither fought they any more. And Abner and his men walked all that night through the plain, and passed over Jordan, and went through all Bithron, and they came to Mahanaim. And Joab returned from following Abner, and when he had gathered all the people together, there lacked of David's servants 19 men in Asahel. But the servants of David had smitten of Benjamin and of Abner's men, so that 360 men died. And they took up Asahel and buried him in the sepulchre of his father, which was in Bethlehem. And Joab and his men went all night, and they came to Hebron at break of day. So that's the end of chapter 2, and we'll see you next time. Bye.